I'm going to be unhauling several of BookTube's favorite books today. And I don't feel bad about it. Hey, how's it going? How's life? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Sophia, and today I am going to be doing a unhaul video. And the reason I'm going to be doing this unhaul is because there are so many books on my shelf that I'm just not as excited to read as I was when I got them. My biggest goal of 2020 is to get my TBR shelves down to a manageable number, and I don't think I can do that if I'm not excited for the books that are on my shelves. And you might be wondering what prompted this decision to do this unhaul, and that is going to be the Fallen Kingdom series by Morgan Rhodes. Now, I binge read this entire series this month, in the month of April, and I don't know, I feel conflicted about this series because on the one hand it was addictive, it was page turning, but on the second hand I can't help but think that I probably would have enjoyed this a lot more had I read it sooner. But as a result, my tastes have been changing, and so the books that are on my TBR aren't necessarily books that I'm going to be enjoying or loving. And life is too short to be spending it on books that you're not going to absolutely love and adore and fawn over. And that is what triggered this unhaul. Another inspiration for this unhaul was Sam from Thoughts on Tomes. A couple of years ago, she did Con Marring My TBR, where she just went through all of her books and basically just unhauled a lot of books. Basically anything that didn't bring her joy, she just got rid of it. And I felt like doing the same. If you want, I'll leave a link down below to her video that she did, so you can check it out if you want. But yeah, so I decided last night out of nowhere to Con Marry My TBR, and I was going through every single book on my TBR shelves and just holding it in my hand and seeing whether or not I liked it, which is why it's a hot ass mess. I'm getting rid of a crap ton of books. I don't regret it because I want to be able to make room for the books that reflect my taste. Like, I want, when you guys see my shelves, I want you to see the type of reader I am. I want what I love to be reflected on my shelves, and I don't think you can see that with the way my shelves are right now. Another reason why I've kept these books on my shelf, and this is going to sound superficial and vain, but I want my shelves to look pretty. You know, sometimes, like when you watch booktubers and you see these gorgeous shelves, you're just like, ooh, I would like for my shelves to look like that. And the fact that I'm getting rid of so many books, this entire shelf more than likely will be empty, and I don't really know how I feel about that. So I'm gonna have to do some reorganizing. I might not be explaining it the best I can, and that's because I didn't really prepare any notes for this video. Another reason why I want to unhaul so many books is that I want to make room for new books that I'm excited for. I haven't bought a book that I was interested in since 2018. So ever since 2019 started, 2019 was the year I decided I wanted to get my TBR shelf down. So I have been consistently unhauling books even before I joined BookTube. But in 2019, I wasn't buying any books unless it was books that I had already read or books by authors I knew I would get to immediately. And I don't want to do that anymore. I want to be able to buy books and make room for books on my shelves that I am excited to read. And I don't think I can do that with so many books on my shelves. And also, I have a limited space. I have 3 bookshelves behind me, and these 3 bookshelves are going to be the only bookshelves I have available in my room. So I have to make the most with the space that I already have. Because I have so many books to go through, I am not going to go in depth into synopses of every single book that I read. That would just be too much. This video would be an hour long, and I don't feel like editing an hour-long video. No, thank you. So without further ado, let's get into the unhaul. So the books I'm going to be unhauling in this video is going to be Carrie by Stephen King, Wolf by Wolf by Ryan Groudon, Three Dark Crowns by Kendar Blake, The Star-Touched Queen by Roshni Chokshi, Because You Love to Hate Me, with 13 authors in collaboration with 13 different booktubers. I bought this because I wanted to support the booktubers that I love and watch. But if I'm being completely honest, I've never even opened this book since buying it. So I think it would be better to donate this to my local library and have this in the hand of someone who will enjoy it more than I ever could. Small Great Things by Jodi Picoult. And then I have the entire quartet of The Etiquette and Espionage, and that is going to be by Gail Carringer. Next up, I have Blood Queen by Sarah Beth Durst. The School for Good and Evil by Soman Chini. Sorry, I don't know how to pronounce it. Then I have books 1 and 2 of the Seven Realms Quartet. The entire Shades of Magic trilogy by V.E. Schwab. Frontlines by Michael Grant. We Are the Ants by Sean David Hutchison. I read this book in February and I hated it. This book ended up putting me in a reading slump because I hated it that much. So I would rather give this to someone who will enjoy, love, and appreciate it more than I ever could. The Girl in 6E by A.R. Torre. This is a smutty novel. Besides that, I got about halfway, I put it down, and I never picked it back up. And I know I won't ever pick it back up. Not because this novel is horrible, but it's just not something that interests me. Unwind by Neil Shusterman. I read the Thunderhead, Scythe, the Arc of a Scythe trilogy. I read that by Neil Shusterman, and I loved that trilogy. It's so good in my opinion. But for some reason, when it comes to reading his backlist, I'm not terribly interested in that. Next up, I have an entire trilogy. It's going to be a contemporary trilogy that was super popular back in the day. And that is going to be Anna and the French Kiss, Lola and the Boy Next Door, Isla and the Happily Ever After by Stephanie Perkins. I actually plan on giving these to my sister. She read this trilogy. She absolutely loved and adored it. And contemporary isn't really my favorite genre, so I just thought I'd give it to her instead. Another book my sister loved and enjoyed is November 9 by Colleen Hoover. I read this book. I remember it was fun. It was enjoyable. I know there's a lot of problematic theming in November 9. Colleen Hoover isn't an author I really have interest in checking out her works. But yeah, I'd rather just hand this off to my sister, who I know absolutely loves this story. Next up, I have Prisoner of Night and Fog, Conspiracy of Blood and Smoke. Oh yeah, I was right. Both of these are by Anne Blankman. My Lady Jane by Cynthia Han, Brody Ashton, and Jody Meadows. The other book I have to talk about is one where a part of me doesn't want to get rid of it, but a bigger part of me does, and that is going to be Elantris by Brandon Sanderson. I do plan on continuing on with his other work. It's just Elantris was so weak for me. And there is one scene, if you've seen my wrap up, I believe it is, there's just this one scene that really bothered me that I couldn't get past. And so for that, I'm just going to donate this to my local library once it opens back up. Wind Witch by Susan Dennard. I already own a copy of Wind Witch by Susan Dennard. This is just an extra copy I held on to for absolutely no reason. So I'll just be getting words are so hard. I'll just be getting rid of this one. I also have this entire shelf right here, right above my little skull. That entire shelf is also going to be getting unhauled, but I'm going to be giving those to a friend who has a completely different taste in books than I do. I'll insert a clip where I go through all of the books that are on this particular shelf. Alrighty, so this is the shelf that I plan on giving to my friend. Whenever I do unhauls, I usually send her a bunch of pictures of books I think she'll like, and she chooses which ones. So yeah, I have the Court of Thorns and Roses trilogy. I enjoyed it. It was like a fun, quick little read, but my friend is a huge Sarah J. Maas fan, so I thought these will be better in her hands. I also have the Fallen Kingdoms trilogy, which I binge read this year. If you guys are interested in a review for the entire series, let me know and I'll do that for you. But I was kind of disappointed. And usually if I don't like a book, I know that she will end up loving it. That's how different our tastes are. And then I have Children of Blood and Bone, which I was super excited to read because it's an African-inspired fantasy. However, I've heard some mixed things about it, and life's too short for reading books that I think maybe I'll buy. Then The Lonely Hearts Hotel, I bought this on Book Outlet, and we know, we've all been there where we've been on Book Outlet, we see those deals, and we're just adding a bunch of books to our carts. The Snow Like Ashes trilogy was one of the first trilogies I purchased. I haven't heard many good things about it, and the things I have heard about it, they say it's okay, it's not the best, it hasn't been the best thing. The Monsters of Verity duology, read The Savage Song, thought it was okay, and I just lost interest in reading our Dark Duet. Furthermore by Tahira Mafi. My friend is a huge Tahira Mafi fan. And then I bought Betrayal by R.L. Stine. This was a, how do you say that? This was like a nostalgia buy. I remember reading Fear Street and Goosebumps when I was a kid, which is why I bought that. And then Stolen Songbirds. The Stolen Songbirds trilogy. I'm not sure if that's what it's called, but I saw this online. I didn't even hear anything. Like words are so hard, sorry. The synopsis sounded vaguely interesting to me, and so I just picked it up and never read it. Yeah, so these are all the shelves these are all the books on the shelves that are going to my friend. So I hope you guys enjoyed this unhaul. Feel free to let me know, how do you guys feel about having huge TBRs? Are you with it? Do you love having a ginormous TBR? Or are you like me and would you prefer to have a TBR that's smaller or more manageable? I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope to see you soon with another video, and I will see you then. Bye.